Name every kind of human that has ever existed. Go ahead. Most people can name one, us. But scientists have identified more than 20. Some stood 4 feet tall. Some had brains bigger than yours. Some built fires and buried their dead 100,000 years before the pyramids existed. And almost all of them are gone, for reasons we still don't fully understand. Right now, in this exact moment, there is only one kind of human left on the entire planet. That has not always been true. For most of the last 6 million years, you would have had company. So let's meet them. All of them, one at a time. Start about 4 million years ago in East Africa, with something that isn't a human yet, but isn't fully an ape either. Australopithecus, small brain, roughly the size of a chimpanzee's, but a hip and a foot built for something no ape had ever done before. Walking upright, full-time, on 2 legs. The most famous one has a name. In 1974, a team working in Ethiopia found a partial skeleton so complete they nicknamed her Lucy. She stood about 3.5 feet tall. She walked like you do, and she lived over 3 million years before a single stone tool existed. Here's the part nobody tells you. Walking upright came first. Big brains came later, millions of years later. We didn't get smart and then stand up. We stood up and stayed that way for 2 million years before intelligence caught up to the posture. About 2.5 million years ago, something changes. A new species shows up with a slightly bigger brain and something Australopithecus never had: deliberate tools. Sharp stone flakes, made on purpose, not found by accident. Scientists named it Homo habilis. Handyman, found at Oldaway Gorge in Tanzania, alongside piles of shattered rock that only makes sense if something was smashing them together with intent. Here's the part nobody tells you. Habilis wasn't hunting with those tools. It was scavenging, cutting meat off carcasses that lions and hyenas had already killed and abandoned. The first piece of human technology wasn't a weapon. It was a can opener for someone else's leftovers. Around 1.9 million years ago, Homo erectus shows up, and everything changes speed. Bigger brain, fully modern body proportions, and for the first time, a human species that doesn't stay in Africa. Erectus walked out. Fossils turn up in Georgia, in China, on the island of Java. This was one species spread across 3 continents, using nothing but its own legs, roughly 1.8 million years before your ancestors made that same journey out of Africa. Erectus mastered fire. Erectus made hand axes so consistent in shape that the same design shows up virtually unchanged for over 1 million years. Think about that. One tool, unmodified for longer than our entire species has existed. Here's the part nobody tells you. Homo erectus didn't go extinct quickly or all at once. The most recent erectus fossils, found on the island of Java, date to roughly 100,000 years ago, which means Erectus was still alive at the same time as us. 2 different human species sharing the same planet and possibly never once running into each other. Roughly 700,000 to 600,000 years ago, in Africa, one population of humans starts branching in 2 directions. One branch stays. One branch walks north into Eurasia. The one that stayed eventually becomes us. The one that left becomes something else entirely. Something we're about to meet. Twice. Neanderthals lived across Europe and Western Asia for roughly 400,000 years. And for most of the 20th century, we got their story completely wrong. Hunched, dim, barely more than an animal. That version came from one badly reconstructed skeleton in 1908 that turned out to have severe arthritis. The real picture is very different. In 2018, researchers dated cave paintings in Spain to at least 64,000 years old. Homo sapiens didn't reach Europe until tens of thousands of years after that. Neanderthals painted those walls. They buried their dead at a site called Shanidar in Iraq. Archaeologists found a Neanderthal skeleton surrounded by pollen clusters, which some researchers interpret as flowers laid deliberately in a grave. They cared for injured group members who could never have survived alone, bodies with healed, catastrophic fractures that only make sense if someone else fed them for months. Here's the part nobody tells you. You're probably part Neanderthal right now. If your ancestry traces outside Africa, roughly 1 to 2% of your DNA came directly from them. They didn't fully disappear. They walked into us. In 2010, in a cave in Siberia called Denisova, researchers found a single finger bone, just a fragment. They extracted DNA from it, and the genome didn't match Homo sapiens. It didn't match Neanderthals either. It matched nothing anyone had ever cataloged. They called this new population Denisovans, and to this day, we have almost no idea what they looked like. A finger bone, a few teeth, one jaw found in a cave in Tibet. That's nearly the entire physical record of an entire kind of human. Here's the part nobody tells you. We know Denisovans existed almost entirely through their DNA, not their bones. And that DNA is still working. People living today in Tibet carry a Denisovan gene that helps them survive at extreme altitude, where oxygen is thin enough to kill people without it. An entire species we've never truly seen left us a survival tool anyway. In 2003, on the Indonesian island of Flores, archaeologists found a skeleton that stopped the entire field of anthropology. An adult, fully grown, standing about 3.5 feet tall, with a brain roughly the size of a grapefruit. They nicknamed it the Hobbit, Homo floresiensis, and it was still alive as recently as 50,000 years ago, making stone tools and hunting animals on an island it could never have walked to. Here's the part nobody tells you. Flores was never connected to the mainland, even at the lowest sea levels of the Ice Age. Reaching it meant crossing open ocean on purpose. A 3.5-foot-tall human species crossed water that stopped much larger species cold. They weren't alone in being small. In 2019, in a cave in the Philippines, researchers confirmed an entirely separate tiny species. Homo luzonensis, standing under 4 feet tall, isolated on its own island for tens of thousands of years. 2 different dwarf humans on 2 different islands, neither one aware the other existed. In 2013, cavers in South Africa squeezed through a passage so narrow that only people with a very specific body type could fit through it. At the bottom, in a chamber called Rising Star, they found bones. Hundreds of them, belonging to a species nobody had ever documented. Homo naledi, small brain, smaller than yours by a wide margin, but a body built for both walking and climbing. And here's what stopped researchers cold. The bones showed no signs of predators dragging them in, no signs of a flood washing them there, no signs of a cave collapse. The bodies appeared to have been placed there, deliberately, down a passage so difficult that modern researchers needed trained cavers to reach it. Here's the part nobody tells you. Naledi had a brain about 1/3 the size of yours. And there's a real possibility that a brain that small was still capable of understanding death enough to do something about it. If true, we don't get to assume big brains built our humanity alone. Which brings us to the last one standing. Homo sapiens. Emerging in Africa roughly 300,000 years ago, sharing the planet at various points with erectus, with Neanderthals, with Denisovans, with the Hobbits of Flores, with Naledi, and probably others we haven't found yet. As recently as 50,000 years ago, you could have crossed paths with at least 4 other kinds of human on this planet. Now there's one. So what happened to the rest of them? Nobody fully agrees, and that's the honest answer. Climate shifted hard and fast during the ice ages, and smaller, more isolated populations may simply not have been able to adapt quickly enough. Homo sapiens spread aggressively and competed for the exact same resources every other human species needed. In some cases, like the Neanderthals, we didn't just replace them. We interbred with them until the population was absorbed rather than eliminated. It might not have been one cause. It might have been all of them at once, grinding down every other branch of humanity while one branch, ours, happened to catch every break. So here's the full picture. Humanity was never one species slowly getting smarter in a straight line. It was a crowded, branching tree. Walking apes, toolmakers, wanderers, cave painters, island dwarfs, deep cave burial builders, existing the same time on the same planet, mostly unaware of each other. You're the only branch that made it to the end of that story. Not because you were destined to, because every other branch one at a time, over 6 million years, ran out of luck. Somewhere out there, a group of Neanderthals watched their last child grow up in a world with no other Neanderthals left. A group of hobbits on Flores did the same. A group of naledi carried a body down into a cave for the last time and never came back to do it again. You're reading this sentence with a brain built by that entire 6 million year filtering process. Every single one of your ancestors, all the way back, survived long enough to pass it on. Every single one. And somewhere behind you, an entire family tree of other humans didn't.